Hey, Emmanuel, what are you doing in this episode? Did I forget a meeting?
Hey, Will. No, we don't have a meeting, but I love tuning into the recording, so I figured I'd hop in.
Oh, awesome. Well, hey, since I got you here, do you mind sharing some stuff about Jetstream? Ever since our episode on Slick Talk, we get tons of questions about you and, of course, Jetstream.
Of course, I'd love to share. Anything specific?
Well, I keep getting asked what's the difference between Jetstream and any other service or tech in the vacation rental industry. My simple answer is that Jetstream isn't just the tech you need, but it's the people too. Am I close?
The short answer is yes. You see, maybe you're a short-term rental operator or a realtor or an investor. If you have an interest in short-term rentals and hospitality, you're looking for the most efficient way to either enter the industry or streamline your operations. You've got two options. Option one, the hard one. You find a PMS, hire staff, learn the tools, figure out OTA distribution, train yourself, train your teams, price your product, deal with customers, and you do everything yourself. Option two, partner with Jetstream. Jetstream is a complete solution that maximizes your revenue in the short-term rental industry without increasing your fixed costs. Jetstream handles everything.
So I don't need to sign up for vacation rental software or worry about distribution headaches. And what about branding? What if operators love their brand and name? Do they have to give that up in order to be powered by Jetstream?
Absolutely not. Jetstream does all of this white labeled under your brand name. Everything. You focus on delivering on-site guest delight and growing your inventory. Jetstream handles the rest. And to make it even easier for your listeners and anyone else who stumbles across this podcast, anyone who mentions code SlickTalk50 will receive 50% off the first 3 months.
All right, coming in big with the 50% off for our listeners. Well, hey, Emmanuel, I just want to say thank you so much for shedding some light on the power of Jetstream and being such a great industry partner. I do have to get back to this episode though, but let's get together soon for another virtual happy hour. First round's on me.
Sounds good, Will. See you soon.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My beautiful Michaels, how are we doing today?
Hello. It'll be less confusing with a singular will with a single L than last week. But that was fun.
There's a couple of times I tried to interrupt and be like, wait, he's talking to the other Will. We have a guest. I'm not that important today. But no,
Wipeout winner.
Wipeout winner. I love that. That was a highlight of my week. I was like, man, I interviewed someone from Wipeout.
You watched it afterwards, or you're I still have to do it. I still want to watch it on YouTube.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've known that for years, and I try to tell everybody I know.
So epic. Well, a lot of exciting stuff this week happened. Week 3 in Mexico for me. Got to enjoy a beautiful walk out my favorite neighborhood to get a cup of Joe to come talk to you young, amazing fellows. So how's everybody doing else? Or how's everybody else doing on the call? Yeah, there we go. Doing good.
Got some yard work done this weekend. Lots of pollen still, but the yard's taking shape.
Heck yeah. Every guy's dream and passion is a good yard,
I hate you.
How about you, Ross?
So you got green hands now. No, I'm good. We had a good weekend. It's a bit busy time for the company. Exciting things going to happen. So decided took a bit some rest in the weekend and full speed again since this morning as it's now 3:00 in here.
I love it.
Is Amazon appointing you CEO of travel subscription?
No, they asked me, but I said no. Well, it's funny. I mean, there were some other companies approaching me in the last weeks to become their CEO, but I'm not sure. Oh, good.
Must be nice. Must be nice to be that wanted. Just kidding. Well, we got fun stuff to dive into. So going into the topic of loyalty, a couple other things. We're going to cover some different segments. So the Michaels are switching, unless you guys don't want to switch. But
let's switch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ross,
we like switching.
Perfect. So Ross is going to cover what's with the noise, and then we'll have Golden with startup of the week. Here we go.
I feel so much pressure. The first time I'm actually like getting nervous for the episode because
You nervous?
what
You
with the
shaking?
noise is the best part of the part of the
It is
show.
the best segment week in and week
I
out.
feel so much pressure. I had a really bad night. I was like,
Our
tomorrow
email,
I have to do it.
my inbox is literally just, can we get more what's with the noise, please? That's all I get back and forth.
Yeah.
My LinkedIn's blown up. It's crazy.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But a complete separate show even is I think requested by so
Maybe
many
I'll
people.
spin out. Yeah.
We all, the band breaks up and we all start our own shows on the segments. Too good. All right, well, let's do this one. I'm excited. So here we go.
Hi, Grandma. Good to see you. Okay, I have to start the same like other Michael does. Yeah, it was actually nice to take this topic once, even though I feel huge pressure on me because, as we just shared, it's I think the most popular segment of the show. There's some exciting news. AirDNA is sold. The private equity firm Alpine acquired AirDNA. Details are not there. I tried to find some information. I guess the expectation probably will be around 70, 90 million. If you look at the acquisition price, if somebody knows more information, feel free to share. That's a bit expectation. What is impressive, the founders actually never raised money, which means they're free founders, actually, so they can share a quite nice amount with three of them. So well done, guys, of AirDNA. It seems actually that the data is getting really popular. You see that they actually follow the data is the new follow the money. You saw that, of course, OTA Insight. Actually, they acquired the company. You see now, of course, this sort of nice transaction, which is done by acquiring AirDNA. So, guys, well done. And indeed, let's see what's going to happen more in the space of data.
There's many startups out there that are clamoring for investment. And last week, there was another one that landed a big round. Our startup of the week, and my good friend Phil Kennard from FutureStay has announced $11 million of funding to build the short-term rental tech platform built to professionalize the small operators, those single hosts that manage 1 to 10 properties. Well done, Phil and team over at FutureStay, and congrats on being the startup of the week.
Amazing. Phil, killing it. FutureStay. How many more companies do you think we're going to see this happen with? I think we're going to see what? How many a week do you think? Funding. Let's say both. Let's split them up. We got funding and then we have acquisition. So how many a week do you think we'll find? Within the next quarter.
I'll say Q2. Investments you see. I would say around two per week in the travel space. Just a bit. If you look a bit now, what's happening to like normal rounds, a bit. Just say 1 million plus. I would say maybe two per week. Let's say acquisitions.
I think that's a fair.
I'll say a half of one per week.
So tons of seed rounds.
One every other week. And then an acquisition, one a month.
One a month.
I think we're going to see a lot more acquisitions, which is more than we've seen in the past.
True.
Just
going to happen some, yeah.
Just this month, we've had 2. So some of it's a bit cyclical. You don't see a whole lot of acquisitions being done, in certain times of the year, just the ebbs and flows of business. So, these acquisitions were probably bowed up and done right at the beginning of the year and getting everything ready for announcements. I think we'll probably see that. And a lot of people wait until right before big industry events to announce things too. So there's no big industry events that I know of in April. I guess there's VRMA, but it's not a big one. There's a couple in Europe in May. We might see a little announcements. Our guest, Will Perry from Altido, they sound like they're clamoring to buy some more companies. So I'd expect to see a few more acquisitions from them if no one else.
Yeah, no, that's a fair bet. I think it's really fun to watch, and so seeing all these companies like meeting Phil and the team at VRMA last year, and then now seeing this announcement, it's like, all right, like how many more people are going to be doing that? You know, it's cool. It's cool to see.
What Hospitality FM going to be acquired this year already?
No, we're going to be acquiring. So get ready. We're about to start. We're about,
Wow.
going big dogs over here. Just kidding.
Michael, do you want to be CEO?
No. It's not. I've dabbled, and Golden knows this. I dabbled with talking about possibly doing investment, but I think I got some different ideas after some good conversations. So I'm learning to listen from the pros who've done it, and got the pros and cons from it. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, enough about me. What's our overall topic of the day?
Oh, you have your own show anyway, so it should be more about me and Michael because you've got your own.
Yeah. Well, my other show is about the guest. It's always about the guest. No one cares about me. It's just about
it's in the name. It's like they called it. It's slick. It's all, gonna change the name then. Come on,
change my name. Just like the Will Talk. The Will Talk.
No.
Will Talks.
Slicker talks to others. Others talk to Slicker.
And it's not about me.
Yes, it's not subtitles. For real, what's the topic of the day? Like, I'm putting it into your guys' hands here because I think we've tossed a couple ideas. Not 100% sure.
Bolt-on technology and how tech stacks are getting too complicated. FocusWire put out a good article over the weekend. I'm pulling it up. Are you beating me to it?
Well, I was gonna say I got the headline right here.
Yeah. So go modular or go home, and it's a topic. I actually did a chat for Breezeway and their Elevate event last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and it was a similar topic where you've got tons of technology that can solve virtually every pain point in your business. The problem is how it works with your business.
Yeah.
And FocusWire did a nice little piece of how tech companies have to build modularly. So bolting on to the existing tech stack is the right way to go. But the challenge is that there's so many PMSs, there's so many vendors, there's so many integrations that you could have an integration army of thousands of engineers and you could not get every integration done, plain and simple. And so I think the industry has to either consolidate or it has to get better at either having middleware or some sort of common language that everyone uses to make it more attractive for the end customer. Because at the end of the day, I personally hate technology in general. I hate having 10 different logins and having to put pieces of data in this, and that. And if it doesn't all just talk to one another, it's more trouble than it's worth. And, FocusWire nailed it that if you can't be modular, then go home. Like, just wrap it up, call it a day.
Well, it's the standards, and we had it in a previous episode. Within Bidroom, of course, we connect to managed channel managers, and you see how much hustle and work it is all the time the same, right? You got certifications, and they have different standards. And that's we shared before. It might be some of them might do it on purpose because, of course, it's otherwise so easy to change your PMS or it's so easy to change your channel manager, but also frustrating, right? For companies who want to connect to your tech stack or to your channel manager PMS to make it complicated. There's some good switches getting out there, so I will see, and I think that's going to happen more. That there are some specific companies going to be really strong in connectivity only. I would say in building connectivity with channel manager PMS, and they actually deliver their API to other platforms like OTAs or whatever. So they do the maintenance, because if you see how much people we have on connectivity and then maintaining these connections, and we doing this, there are hundreds of other, I would say, booking platform that has to do the same. Mm-hmm. So I think this might be, and you see a few doing well out there. So I think more and more moving into maybe specific companies that we are specialized in just connectivity. That's it, and we're just building the bridge from channel A to channel B, etc. And that's pretty it, because the standards are terrible.
Well, I was going to read a quote from Sebastian from Cloudbeds. So if you have to learn numerous interfaces, you'll spend most of your time on the job understanding how to use multiple systems within a fragmented tech stack. And so to me, the big key thing from that is that we're wasting time learning the tools rather than actually using the tools, which the tools are supposed to be there to help us provide guest experience. And not to like drop the bomb early, but this Wednesday on Slick Talk, I actually have Adam Harris, who's the CEO and co-founder of Cloudbeds, on the show, and we talked about this, going into the side of, the travel experience is still super hectic and kind of crazy. I think, not just from the operator standpoint, but from the traveler standpoint. You have to book a plane, book a hotel or an Airbnb or a short-term rental or whatever, and then you have your Uber or Lyft or whatever. This whole seamless process, or this process should be seamless in the sense of your Uber should be ready for you when you get there off the plane. Your Uber driver should know what hotel you're going to. The itinerary of travel, I think, is super fragmented as well. But then the operating standpoint, common theme through every short-term rental property manager or host or whatever we talk to is constantly I have 10, like Michael Golden said, got 10 different logins with 10 different passwords. And just to do a simple task to help accommodate a guest with an early check-in or to provide extra linen or some kind of service, right? You have to go through all these channels. And so is how do we, I think, in our private chat, Golden, you made the comment, we're still very early with these companies. You're right. Like these companies are still, maybe 4 or 5 years old. So I think it's going to get to the point though, we're going to have to start collaborating more as a,
I think Ross, well, both of you guys are right. Like there has to be middleware at this point because consolidation is not going to happen fast enough.
Yeah.
And the good news is there is technology to solve all of your pain points. The bad news is how does it all piece together? So you really have to be careful on selecting your tech stacks to make sure they're compatible with one another. And if they aren't, probably not the right time to leverage it.
Yeah.
And, I can't speak to the hotel space as well as Ross could, but we're early days in vacation rental technology. The exciting part is there's a lot of really cool new technology coming out, but the challenge is folding
there's
it
a
in.
lot of, there's a
Folding
lot
it in, right?
Yeah.
Ross, I have to believe it's more integrated and further along in hotels than it seemingly is in short-term rentals. Is that right? Or is it still a mess?
No, it's a mess. You can see the difficulty. You've got all those different systems, and still you get the PMS, the booking agents, the channel managers. Then you have, there's not, you say, if you have one tool which is managing it all, I don't think why it has to be so difficult, because all the big channel managers and the travel clicks, the site managers, they deliver all of those. But they're just all different modules. So if you're in a hotel, you just don't want to think about, okay, which one I should use now. And it's even the way you're distributing rates, it's also complex. And then you're looking at the way we invest a lot heavily. If you're looking at the extranet we have built for hotels, managing their supply, their pricing, it's really good. I would say, I think one of the best extranets out there. Also, when we show them this, for example, to partners. But if you see some other platform, the weights, and maybe that's why the companies like Cloudbeds, Muse, they're doing well because it's understandable also from user interface. But there's so many tech companies out there, they don't understand the user interface from the user, right? And I think there's also, if you just want to connect your PMS or channel manager, or you want to facilitate your distribution, I see some PMSs out there. I will be confused. And imagine you're just, and I know the space, I would say quite okay. And if you're just a front office employee or revenue manager, and you're completely lost, right? And then you see they all have the difficulty. So, and still, then the one PMS doesn't talk to the other channel manager. This channel manager doesn't talk to this booking agent. It's just, and that's the thing, is the standards. They're just not there, right? And you might see that you see the big change. You're using switches and stuff to get these things done. They're using a Derbysoft or Disco, because they also, okay, if we're distributing our rates to different booking platforms, we can't connect this all by ourselves because we have to probably have a team which is much bigger. So I think, as Michael just said, there's a few middlemans, I would just say, and I'm not a big fan of middlemans, but there's a few, I would say, good, just say intermediaries that we just helping with connectivity. Yeah, they will get, they can do well.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I remember my front desk manager days. Like, I shouldn't have had to have on my checklist for my front desk agents to verify reservations, because the channel manager sometimes would not push them through correctly, or because Booking.com reservations were coming through differently than Expedia and, X, Y, and Z. Those tasks, those issues within the technology create more friction and pain for the operating and the guests, operation staff and the guests, because again, they're too busy verifying reservations that should be verified. Like, if it's booked, it should come through correctly the way every reservation normally does, whether it's direct or through an OTA. But no, they're spending 20, 30 minutes looking down at a piece of paper, cross-referencing their channel manager with their booking engine, and this is this and this, and it just makes no sense on the waste of time. I think that's my biggest thing I notice in the hotel space.
Yeah, and I think the people who have been in the business a long time know what questions to ask when evaluating technology. The people that get hurt most by it are small companies, independent operators, individuals that don't understand. If you're managing a 20 unit hotel or 10 vacation rentals, understanding that the PMS has to talk with the home automation, locks, keys, thermostats, and dynamic pricing has to fit in with the PMS. And like, just those three alone, not to mention distribution and all of that, but just those three alone, if you're manually doing your pricing on 10 or 20 units, it takes up a lot of time. If you're manually sending out locks, codes, or whatnot,
check-in instructions.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a lot of time. And unless you've been in the industry and you know that like these are the important steps that you have to get right and have to automate, then you could pick the wrong tech stacks, and then you're wasting time learning this and then realizing all the struggles it has, and then getting a new one and getting out of a contract and getting in a new contract. I think the people who've been in it long enough know what to look for and know exactly where their gaps are, but it's certainly a barrier to entry for smaller operators or independent operators.
So I have a question for you guys then on that, but if you have another comment, Ross, go ahead.
No, ask your question, Will.
It's more or less I was like, okay, then if the operators that have been around for a while, right, they understand these questions asked, they know what to look for, they know their pain points, they know their must-haves, their things that they're willing to kind of sacrifice a little bit because they already know how to operate around it or something like that. They have that information. So how do tech companies or companies like HFM or whatever get in front of these new operators that are just joining the industry, that these people have no idea about the inner circles of how certain tech platforms work? How there's an endless amount of educational content out there as well. So how do you get in front of that? How do you prevent that barrier to entry to be a complete dumpster fire?
It's probably a bit aspirational, but having the ideal tech solution as a single package and then each of those vendors promoting that package is probably the best path. If NoiseAware teams up with this PMS, this pricing, this home automation, this distribution, and it all works, like you invest a lot to make that group work seamlessly, then I think you can attract a lot of business. And then you'll see pods, right? You'll see us in this group and then the competitor in that group. And then people are just evaluating the entire stack. I think that is a place the industry needs to and probably should go to. But I mean, you'll see at NoiseAware, we're not out there partnering with everybody.
Yeah.
It's not a strategy of ours. There's other, one of our competitors every week, new announcement, right? But having deep, real rooted partnerships are way more fruitful than surface level press releases.
Mm-hmm. What are your
No,
thoughts,
I
Ross?
agree there. I think I fully agree there. I think you will see a few companies. Okay, we're just integrating. We're taking care of all the difficult work. We're integrating several services, and just you take one solution, and that's it. That's the one contracting party, and what they do, they're just contracting like different vendors. Indeed, what Michael said, with even though it's a NoiseAware or a revenue management system or PMS or whatever, he's like, I have one party, which is actually this is my point of contact in case there's something, and they're taking care of all the integration, maintaining the integration and everything, and that's. I think that will be go this direction. I hope so, because connecting and maintaining also relationships, and indeed what you just said, logins with other different suppliers, you will make yourself crazy. So, and to choose the right party, we just discussed as well. I think a few weeks ago we had a startup. It was at Exportech. I think a new company is okay. You can just actually make some searches. You can compare actually tech stacks. I do believe it's two ways, right? And I think it's like, or some how to just love to do it. I want to build everything by myself because it's kind of his passion, and it will be huge. But I don't know why you want to do it, in my opinion. But there might be people say I just like to pick it all by myself. Some people just want to build their house, to do everything by themselves. They just love this part, right? It's okay, I will take care of it. I want to pick I want to pick everything individually. And this people's okay, I will take an architect, and they take care of everything. I think that will be the approach. I think you will have two groups. I think especially for the whole tech stack, eventually, indeed, what Michael said, you have one company. Of course, you get a few out there. Some of them also sponsoring our show, but you got some companies, okay, we integrating as much services as possible. We maintain the relationship, and you have a complete solution. And you can focus on, if you're hospitality, you can focus on your business, which is just delivering a guest experience, right? And not spending your precious time on comparing and just searching for tech stacks and have stress if things are not working. No, you want to have it done and focus on your guest experience.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time evaluating a single vendor, much less, the 8 that you need to best automate or operationalize your business. And I mean, if you need to select 8 pieces of technology, you're probably looking at least 3 from each segment. That's 24. You're probably doing 2 calls each. That's 48 hours of just talking with them, not even talking with your team and understanding what they prefer. And it's weeks worth of work evaluating tech stacks. And to Ross's point, focus on the guest experience and work with vendors that work well with one another. It's easier said than done, but back to bring it full circle. Tech companies need to be modular. They need to be plug and play, and they need to be open about which companies they work well with to help the buyer evaluate the right thing. We're looking at a piece of tech right now, and we got a quote, and it's missing one of the parts that we have to have. And so we're a little, on the fence of, does this make sense? What are they holding back for? It's just be open, be transparent, put it out there, and everyone appreciates that. Yeah.
Well, that just goes to anyone who's listening as well. Like, ask that question instead of asking about the tools and features. Like, who do you work well with? What's the extra perks that I can add on to this, instead of just, looking at one solution. I think, if, we got all of the Slick Talk sponsors, or even just the sponsors from GMH, to all become the package short-term rental, tech stack, how would the industry respond in the sense of operators, right? So it'd be pretty interesting to see, getting the quote unquote, and we've talked about this in the past, the Avengers together of technology. That would be pretty interesting to see. So I'm
curious, and maybe we can find out how many tech vendor, how many vendors and to say an vacation rental property has, and the same compare with the hotel. I'm pretty curious, but you've got so many licenses, so many agreements, and that's tough, right? So I'm pretty curious if we can find out. It would be nice to discuss, and if you have indeed what Michael said, 8 or 9, which do you really need? Or do you need more, or do you need less, right? And or how can you consolidate them? Because maybe indeed it does make sense. And
yeah, it'd be a good question, good information to find out. So this is a good conversation. I'm curious to see how, we've made a lot of predictions every year out of the almost 2 years that we're into year 2. So we've done a lot of predictions on the show. A lot of them have come true. And so maybe this is a good one to watch and take note of. But other than that, I think, probably a good thing to keep note of. So anyways, good seeing you guys again this week, and I'll see you all again next Monday.